bear the pressure, give assumptions. You may not always agree or reason to right with some things, but in this world of nonsense, you give me common sense. Only relate is walk and stay aggressively. I'm medicine your colorful ways for when it's gray. Necessary rough like lady good range. You to hear the trick by doing Dr. Dre. Things pop off, we can just look and not have to say. It's the pheromones of paranoid we have in this way. It's the feel of home and the moment you can create. From the cradle to the catacombs, with this love that you have, I'm a foundational failure. Your art and flavor is my favorite poem. Highest song, let the zone. Let it rain, I'm ready to go. I can tell just by your tone. Wanna holler, let me know. Let you sow, let me grow. Garden me, we will be so. Planning with a Posibul. Hoping to the keys and roads. We gon' be a team, then we all play your role. You can be the sad smoke to my place.
Which microphone? This one right here?
Yeah, I'll take that one right there. Let me get a quick little cue from you. Yeah, I got you. Perfect. We'll talk over this. I'll lead you in.
91.7 KALW. Wonway Posibul here, kicking it with you on this Tuesday night, supplying the sounds and some good ones at that. Playing in the background, music from Takahiro Izumikawa alongside Hedgehop and Daru Jones. And at the top of the set, single that dropped earlier this year, courtesy of Daru Jones, a track entitled Come Near, featuring Emily MC and Miguel Atwood Ferguson. Aside from enjoying the sounds, you may wonder why we put those songs together. That is because in the studio with us, we got a special holiday guest, the man himself, producer, drummer, multi-instrumentalist, Daru Jones.
Doing good, brother. How are you?
Man, it's great to have you in the house. Great to have you in the Bay Area.
Oh, man.
I know you've been quite busy over the last few months, so yeah, man. What brings you to the Bay right now?
Man, I'm just chilling.
Yeah.
Chilling. I'm glad to finally finish the tour, and I spent holidays out here, so just chilling.
Yeah, man. And, I mean, it's hard to pick where to begin, but I think for those in the Bay, there's a lot of people in the Bay that probably just saw you, including myself, because you were part of Tony's touring band for their tour that they just did. They did a couple nights at the Paramount. You guys were at the Masonic. And, that's near and dear to our hearts because, Tony's from the Bay. So we'll start there. Tell us about that experience and how that was.
Wow. I mean, I was experiencing it with you guys. It was such an honor to be a part of that, Shout out to Raphael Sadiq and the whole crew, Timothy and Dwayne. It was an honor to be a part of that. Actually, a dream come true. I've always wanted to work with Raphael, so my dad was a huge fan. I talk about that on the little video that they have during the show. But yeah, I think I'm sure if my father was alive, he would be happy to see that I'm connected with Ray. But yeah, it's been a blast. Luckily, we hit the United States, and it was cool to be back in some of the cities because I had just finished another tour earlier this year with Jack White. So I'm honored. I was honored to be a part of this.
Yeah, your schedule is crazy. If you look at all. I mean, we started there because we're in the Bay, but your list of collaborators is so extensive, and it ranges. You mentioned Jack White, you mentioned Raphael Sadiq, but there's also folks like Madlib, there's Pharoah Monch, there's so much connections in hip-hop. How did that all begin starting out as a drummer?
So I began playing the drums at the age of 4, and my mom and dad, they're both musicians. My dad was my mom's organ teacher, tell the story loud. Yeah, so I grew up at a super, super strict household with gospel, Kojic, Church of God in Christ. You know what I'm saying? Right. I don't know if you know about that history, but is super, super, super strict. No secular music at all. But of course, when I went to school, all my friends, you know, they were into different genres. I wanted to be down. So, but I started at church, and then I had a lot of older mentors. And again, going to school, I would hear about hip hop, and I was like, man, I wonder what's this hip hop. So I just started learning about other genres, and then I remember being a young teenager when I started learning about drummers in the jazz genre. There's a couple drummers that I saw, and they were not just one. They could play more than jazz. Like Steve Gadd, he was a multi-genre bending drummer, right. And I knew early. I was like, man, I feel like my gifts were going to be bigger than the church. No diss, you know. I'm grateful for my upbringing, and I think it definitely shaped me as a human being. But I knew early that, you know, I feel like the Creator wanted me to, you know, move around in other genres, and I've been blessed to go from gospel to jazz, Caribbean music to rock and roll, you know, and the list keeps.
I remember my first experiences hearing your music, I think kind of like during that era of downloading albums off of blogs and stuff like that. So my memory is downloading your projects with Rena, and I think one of the first ones that I still play to this day is a track where you guys kind of covered Jay Dilla, and it was part of a Producers We Love compilation.
Oh, yeah.
So where did the jump happen from I'm drumming in a band, but I'm also producing and doing beats now?
That's a good question. So, growing up with that super strict Christian background, a lot of the rappers that I was listening to, or the groups, you know, when they rapped, it was very parental. There was a lot of profanity. I was like, man. So I just figured out, how could I still appreciate the hip hop? I gravitated towards the producers, and by me being the drummer, I was like, okay, I can just be a fan of the producers. So eventually, I started studying Dr. Dre, you know, KG from 90 by Nature, the Bomb Squad, Eric Sermon, you know what I'm saying, DJ Premier, Pete Rock, and the list continues to go on. And I was like, man, I just, you know, I had an older mentor that had a studio. He showed me how to use the sampler, the S900. Yeah. And so I remember I started making pause tapes. I figured out when you dub one side and the cassette on the other side. Yeah. And basically I would find the instrumental parts of the rap songs, where most of the time was in the beginning or the end. Yeah. So I would just find, because I was trying to not listen to a lot of the swearing. Right. So I was like, man, but the beats were dope. I was like, man. So I would just go to the instrumental sections, and then I would dub one side to the other side, and just keep rewinding it back, and you know, the continuous fake loops.
But that's amazing. And you know, you hear so many producers, especially in hip hop, that went through that process. I always hear about Q-Tip doing that when he started out. But so you're making beats, you're putting out projects. And then there's like this jump, because now I'm seeing you on all these projects. A lot of these people that I'm sure you probably agree are like heroes. You know, you got Pete Rock, you got Pharoah Monch. How did you become getting into the scene and being able to collaborate with these artists?
Yeah, I'm actually going to answer the last part of that other question. So I remember being a big fan of Premier and those producers, because they were sampling jazz, and I can recognize some of the jazz sample. But what I wanted to do, I was like, man, how can I find my identity in this genre? Because you know, the thing about hip hop is like being authentic and original, not biting. So I was like, okay, what I started doing, because my mom, when she was a choir director, she would get all the records of the people that would come out, Clark Sisters, Van Salen, Winans. So what I would do is I would sample gospel. And at that time, I didn't really hear people sampling gospel. So I was like, okay, being inspired by Premier and Pete and all those people that I mentioned, RZA, I would like mimic them, but I would sample gospel. And you know what I'm saying? So I was like, that was a part of my style, and I called it soul hop. Yes. Soul hop, you know, is you know, from the heart and soul, and the hop is from hip hop. Right. Aggressive. So eventually, during the MySpace era, there was a time when they were doing free downloads. You know what I'm saying? It became a thing. It was you know. So I had the opportunity. When internet came around, I used it for my advantage. You know what I'm saying? I use send space, you send it, and I would produce these projects. You know, and I would. But basically, I wanted the narrative to be uplifting and positive. So that's when the gospel sampling. So I just made sure whoever I got on the tracks, and you mentioned Rena, That's my sister.
Yes.
Tamarina, you know what I'm saying?
Ah, word.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's the Daru. We came up with our first cassette single in '98.
Wow.
And we actually performed at a convention called How Can I Be Down? It was an A&R conference. I don't know if you know about that. But yeah, fast forward, producing, and then I had the Ruzik Records name around for a while, because basically instead of music, I took the M off of music and I put the R, because Daru.
Yeah.
So, I coined that Ruzik Records. So I've always wanted to have a label, so I finally officially LLC'd in New York, 2013. Fast forward at the same time, in the mid 2000s, I got an opportunity to play with one of my favorite groups, Slum Village. Rest in peace, Jay Dilla.
Rest in peace, Jay Dilla.
Yeah, when Dilla transitioned in 2006, Slum T3 is the last original living member.
Yeah.
They wanted to, make some changes, and they got some opportunities to perform. And they got an opportunity to perform at Essence Festival where they would need a live band.
Right.
So at the time, I was living in Pittsburgh, and to make a long story short, I got the recommendation to join a band, and that was one of the biggest opportunities that I had. And during that time, outside of the Roots, it seemed like a lot of other rappers, when you get the opportunity to tour overseas, you got to have that band. When you want to play jazz festivals and all the big festivals like Splash, and you got to have that live band. So I just became hot. I started working with Talib Kweli.
Yeah.
I was, his musical director, and he had a group called Idol Worship. That's how I ended up working with him solo. And then I was playing with, I remember when I would play with Slum Village, Black Milk used to open up for us. I don't know if you know Black Milk.
Of course, yeah.
Amazing. Black Milk is a dope producer from Detroit. And Black was like, if I ever got a band, I want to use Slum Band. So Black Milk actually took Slum Village's band.
Hey. Even with a good sound was, you gotta appreciate it.
But yeah, I just came at a good time where a lot of those artists, they wanted to add that band, and I made a record. I made a name for myself. So it was like, yo, hire Daru because he's going to pay attention to detail. By me being a producer, that really helped my ear, because I'm listening to all those different sonics. Like, okay, this is what the artists want to hear because that's what's on the record.
Yep.
And when you trying to translate the produced records to a live, it's not easy.
No, not at all.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's how things popped off.
Attention to detail, and then you've expanded in so many ways, because you mentioned Jack White, so you're crossing genres. Most recently, I caught you over at the Blue Note Festival in Napa, and you were doing a collaborative project with Madlib. So it's just been meeting people and connecting through all that, knowing your work.
It's been a blessing, The internet is definitely and it's the story with Madlib. That's a whole nother story. But I'm grateful that I got a chance to work. He's one of my heroes, and he should have been on that list of producer names, because I would definitely. When that Blue Note record came out, I got every record that he put out. You know what I'm saying? Every record, and even the Mad Villain record. So I'm a big fan. It's been an honor, to find it. And it's crazy that Madlib he was sampling my drums.
Wow.
And I didn't even know it. You know what I'm saying? So they have this company at one time called it was through Converse. Converse did a collaboration called, I think the name of the studio was Rubber Tracks.
Right.
You remember the Rubber Tracks?
I remember that, yeah.
So I was a part of various sessions with a band I played with called the Rough Pack Poiser, and Matt was like, "Yeah, man, I sample all." It's like, word. So you never know who's checking you out.
Exactly.
You never know.
It's equal. It's going back and forth. Now, because you've been in demand and sampled at that, how would you describe your drummer style that makes it so significant that people are checking for you?
That's a good question. So, again, I'm glad that I came up when I did, because I got exposed to the '90s. No diss to the other, because hip hop grew. There's the dirty South, there's the trap sound, but like I'm talking about the essence of like that '90s sound. Coming from that era, a lot of those producers, they sampled Clyde Stubblefield, who was the drummer for James Brown.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
The funky drummer.
Funky drummer, Bernard Purdy, and those are cats that I know about because of their drummers. So. Just listening to that, I always tell people you are what you eat. So if you listen to a lot of certain things, you're going to obviously play it. Basically, just trying to stick with the essence of sampling breaks.
Yes.
Shout out to Break B. Lou. Break B. Lou is out here. You know what I'm saying?
Big shout out to Break B. Lou.
Big shout. That's my man. So just that history. If you're not familiar, go check him out. He came up with the Ultimate Beats and Breaks, and that was the go-to for people to find those classic breaks. I say my style is definitely a combination of people that inspire me, but I think what gave you my identity is the gospel, that gospel roots.
There it is.
Because you feel that anointed, that heart. You know what I'm saying?
Back to the soul, to
Yeah,
the essence of it.
it's something that I feel like it's something that you can't get in any other genre. Gospel just, it's a whole other thing.
It's foundational for so much music, man. You can't sleep on it, none at all. At the top of the set, we checked out one of your latest singles that you dropped this summer. Seen some singles. What's next? What's happening? When we gonna hear some more music?
Yeah, so that first single, Come Near, shout out to Emily MC. That's a part of my solo record. I'm very proud of. Finally, official.
Yep.
I've been putting records out through, for years on my Bandcamp, and during that time when people were giving away the free downloads, but I wanted to do like an official Daru project. Yep. So this project is I don't want to give too much away of it.
Yep.
But it's I got some really special guests,
all right,
for this one. But yeah, MC Emily.
Yep, Emily MC.
MC
right.
from the Bronx. She's on the track, and then another track I did is featuring Bobby J from Rockaway.
Okay,
amazing lyricist from Rockaway, and both of those tracks actually they were instrumentals that I did with Miguel Ferguson.
Okay,
that were just string arrangements and drums. Yeah. And originally he sent me those strings for his project.
Right.
But when he finished his record, he felt like the vibe didn't work.
Yeah.
So he was like, if you want to use it for your projects, I was like, all right. So I went and got the MCs on it, and they became the two singles from my first record. The name of the project was called Gave the Drummer Some. Not Give the Drummer Some, but Gave the Drummer Some.
There it is. Gave the Drummer Some. So when can we expect that?
Hopefully 2024. It's pretty much done. Shout out to Basie Bob Rockman. He's an amazing engineer. Was a catalyst. He did all those 90s records. He was a part of the Bad Boy.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? He mixed Biggie, Craig Mack, a lot of legendary records. And I'm grateful to have him. He's actually going to executive produce the record with me.
Oh, that's awesome.
So he's mixing the whole record, and it's a lot of treats on it. And hopefully, God willing, next year it's done. We just got to finish a couple tracks. Then hopefully we'll see the light. Any other labels? Anybody got any leads? Or somebody that y'all feel would be great, a great label for my music? Let me know, because I really wanted to get out there.
Yeah. And on that note, how can people be in touch with you, stay up to date with where you're going to be performing, touring, and get updates on the album? So
go to my website, Rusic Records. That's RUSIC Records.com. I have the links to all my socials. As far as Instagram is Daru Jones. That's DARUJONES at Daru Jones on Instagram, Twitter. I'm on Facebook at my name, and I'm always posting content. My YouTube channel, Daru for Music 2, and that's DARUFORRUSIC 2. I'm constantly posting content.
Yeah. Hey man, it's amazing to have you here. I know your schedule's bananas, so I'm glad we caught you during the holidays.
Oh, good.
And it's been a pleasure, man. Like, we got to connect over at the Blue Note. And, of course, when you're back in the Bay, you got a home here. Please keep sending us stuff. And it's been a pleasure, man.
Appreciate you, brother. Wonway, thanks for having me on the show. And shout out to Pharaoh Munch and 13. We were able to put out some music. A Magnificent Day for Exorcism. Shout out to Marcus Machado. And then I was able to be a part of another project with legendary Pete Rock and the Soul Brothers. So
Soul
it's
Brothers, amazing.
Instrumentals Volume 3 that came out. So stay tuned. We're gonna keep it pushing.
That was a perfect segue, because I was about to say I'm gonna play one of my favorites that you've done. That is perfectly edited too, so it works out. I didn't have to do the edit. I'm like, I already edited it. From one of my all-time favorite MCs, who you mentioned, the great Pharaoh Monch, and the album 13. Love the way the drums hit on this one. We're going to get into it and then play something else. But thank you so much, man.
Brother, keep doing what you do. I'm excited to be in the Bay Area.
Yep.
So let me know what's going on, y'all. I'm out here. You know what I'm saying?
Let's get you doing more stuff, man. It's going to happen.
I would love to.
All right, man. Peace.
Peace.
This is 91.7 KALW.
that too.
All right, let's do this quick break. We'll talk real quick and then.
91.7 KALW. One Way Possible here, wrapping up your first hour of music as part of this 4-hour block that we're ever so lucky to supply you with each and every weeknight. Playing in the background, music coming from Antonio Sivert and our special guest still hanging in the studio here, Daru Jones. This one is called Bob James. Very nice instrumental sounds happening. Before that, giving you some
13, a group we heard from a few years back.
consisting of Daru Jones, Pharoah Monch, and others, all-star group with one of my favorites, Kill 'Em All, from the album A Magnificent Day, or Magnificent Day for an Exorcism.
Big shout. Yeah, man, huge influence and great to hear it. And Daru's still here for a few more minutes before we get out. And there was a cool piece of news that I didn't know that we still got to share with the people before we get out. Because, again, I met you when you were doing projects, musically doing projects with your sister, Rena. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, shout out to big sis Rena. Got some good news.
Oh, that's exciting, man. Exclusive. New music coming from Daru and Rena. You heard it here, KLW. And again, man, thank you for hanging. It's been great to hear. When I asked him for some music, I got like 20 links. It was all so good. Like I was trying to figure out what I could play. So I'm glad we got to sneak in some more. Glad to have you here in the Bay. And you stick around. We're going to let this run. You're right where you're supposed to be. We're going to take a quick break in a few. When we get back, we're going to move and plenty other goodies.
Yo, one more thing. I got merch. Merch by Daru, t-shirt, socks, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
get right. It's actually the graphics for my first single. Shout out to Yapendo.
Yeah.
Merch by Daru.com.
That's right.
I just came out with a cookie. Shout out to Sugar Daddy Cookies. Go to my website. It's the drum roll, cinnamon roll cookies available. So go to my website. You check out all the news and blogs. But shout out to Wonway doing this thing and all the Bay Area crew. Hieroglyphics, Souls of Mischief,
yes,
and my brother Break B. Lou and Martin Luther, the whole crew.
Yeah, man.
So we're gonna get the Daru, Oakland, and Bay collab popping.
Yeah, some luminaries right there, man. That's huge. Yeah, big shout to all Hieroglyphics, the whole crew, and thank you, man. Make sure you go support Daru. So many great projects and ways you can support them. So do that. Lots of great things happening in 2024. On that note, let's take a break. We'll be back with you. This is 91.7 KALW.